G'day. So I know I haven't done anything live for a little while. I was doing the fit and fun for mental health every single day, and after 75 days I missed one, so I guess it was 76 days. I decided the fit and fun I needed to take a break. So why am I here today? I'm actually here for something that is super important. Hey guys, super excited to see a bunch of you joining. I guess you've missed me. Well, and thank you for the Happy Canada Day. So here's why I'm here today. I want to actually talk about something a little more serious than fit and fun mental health. And I think the fit and fun mental health were great, and I think they had important pieces to talk about. But I want to talk about the S word. I want us to start talking about suicide. And I want us to not be afraid of talking about it. So why have I chosen Canada Day to have that conversation? Because on June 21st, my brother died by suicide. And today, right now, right at this time, is his funeral. And I'm sitting in Canada, and I'm not able to get to Australia because of COVID and quarantine. And I'm not able to participate virtually for a number of reasons. So I want to honour my brother. I want to honour all the men and women and kids who have died by suicide by talking about it. And so I'm in Calgary, and I'm actually sitting in a hotel room, so that's why it looks like this. I'm on the bed. But I want us to start talking about it. I want, if it happens, that families talk about it. And I know I can't make anyone talk about it, but sometimes we just say so-and-so died, and that's cool. There's no judgment there for people doing what they need to do in those conversations. But I wonder if we all actually said, this is what happened. If we all said that and stood up and said, this person died by suicide, or this person did, or this person did, then we could start having conversations about it, and maybe we could have the conversations before people die about it. Now, I'll share a little about my brother. My brother and I had been talking. I looked back. We had talked actually every day, almost until mid-May, I think it was. And then we were talking every couple of days. And I actually asked him a week before he died whether he was thinking about killing himself. And we were, on Messenger, and he said, yeah, but I'm too gutless. And then he goes, I'm not going to. And we actually had this amazing conversation, and we had been talking about how he was feeling, and he was this super amazing executive that had lost his job, and because of COVID, couldn't find another job, and he lost his sense of purpose. He didn't know what to do with himself. And then, because of COVID and that, it has an impact on people's finances too. And there were some other things, and it really was about being in a conversation and hearing him. And truth be told, I never dreamt. We had that conversation, but I never dreamt that, he would take his life. And I think I've gone back over every conversation. Like, I haven't really slept in a long time because I've gone back over every conversation. I've looked at every text. Did I miss something? And I sit here as people talk about me being a guru of peer support, and I've had a bunch of people reach out and go, you're the reason that I'm alive, because we had conversations. And I think one of the things that is the hardest for those who are still here for any suicide is being in a place of forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, because people make a choice. They make a choice at a point in time to do what they do. And, whether we say they were unwell when they did it or they were making a conscious choice, right? People make a choice at that point in time. And the more we can talk about it before, the more we can sit with people and ask them how they feel. And if anything seems like they're a little sadder or a little different than normal, that we have those hard conversations, that we actually ask them that. Are you thinking about this? We're not putting it in people's heads, right? But the more we can have those conversations, I think the more people we can save, right? Because I think there's this huge shame and guilt and blame around it when it happens. And so families don't talk about it or don't tell people that's what happened. It's just like, well, so-and-so died, and I said that before. But the other piece is, like, we have so many people out there who talk to me about feeling this way, or talk to others who are scared to say it, scared to talk about how they feel to loved ones or friends and I want us not to just, in Canada, we have Bell Let's Talk Day, right? And it's once a year, let's talk about mental health. Well, why can't we talk about it every day? Why can't we check in on people? I know in the US there's some people in Austin doing a campaign called Hi, How Are You? And in Australia there's a campaign, and for the life of me, I've forgotten what it is, but it's about checking on your mates. And I wonder how many people in this pandemic are feeling like my brother. And, I wasn't in his head. I don't know everything he was thinking, right? I was having conversations. But how many people have lost their sense of purpose at the moment? Or how many people are worried about financial stuff and the impact that it has? How many of those people are reaching out because it's an okay topic to talk about? Or how many of them, get a little teary, how many of them are not reaching out because we don't make it normal to talk about how we feel and talk about mental health? And when I talk about mental health is on a continuum. And there are some days we have great mental health and we're like, yo, way to go. And there are some days that our mental health is basically in the toilet and we're really struggling. But imagine if wherever we were on that continuum, we felt okay to have the conversation with anyone. But we're still in this place where we don't talk about it. And that's why I call it talking about the S word, right? Because if we say suicide, there's this automatic either deer in the headlights from someone. Oh my God, I said I'm feeling like that. And the person we're talking to is like, what do I say now? Or there's an automatic, we have to rush and get you in hospital and do this. But imagine if we could just be with people and just be with them when they're feeling like that and talk to them and have a conversation about, is it that you want to be gone? Or is it that you just want whatever that pain is to stop? And if it's that you want that pain to stop, maybe that opens up a conversation. And I always talk in peer support about, like, are we passionately curious about people? Are we passionately curious about what's happening with them? Are we passionately curious about how they're feeling? Are we able to be in the discomfort? Because sometimes when people are talking about, yes, they've thought about killing themselves, then like that can be uncomfortable for us, right? And I see someone said the Aussie one they think is, are you okay? Yeah. So, hi, how are you? Are you okay? How's it going, mate? Let's talk. Why do we only make them once a year or twice a year? Why can't we do that every day? Now, I'm not saying that, we could have saved my brother. I don't know. Like I spent a lot of time talking to him. And as I said, I've gone back over those conversations and I can't see where I could have done anything different because I didn't imagine that he was going to do that, right? Nothing in me had that thought because I would have done some different things if I had have thought about that. And I see someone said they can't watch and it hits home. Here's the place, my friend, if it hits home, please reach out and chat with someone. This is the place where I hope we can start engaging in conversations that allow us to be with each other when it does hit home, so that we can express our feelings, so that we can be with them and be in those conversations. So if it's hitting home, this conversation, and it might be, please reach out to someone, like a friend, a family member, and ask them to just be with you on that journey, on that discussion, whatever that is, whatever those feelings are bringing up. Because I'm clear I'm probably bringing up feelings for people because it's one of those taboo topics. People get embarrassed that it's occurred in their family, or people are embarrassed to talk about how it feels for them. But I am on a mission now. I'm on a mission for my brother and everyone else that has felt that they can't change what's happening. So I am going to get together people that want to have these conversations. I'm going to put workshops together that maybe go out to executives that don't talk about this. Because I know in having those conversations with my brother, he was like thinking he was alone and other people weren't feeling this. Although we were talking about, people not, other people not being able to find work too in the COVID environment. And, it was tough and there were so many people applying for jobs and that. But how many of those people are also struggling with similar feelings? How many of those people are not being able to talk about those feelings because they're embarrassed about them or they're not sure what to do with them? So I'm on an absolute mission to find people that will go out and talk to the world about this. I know we have a high suicide rate in kids, like particularly LGBTQI, two-spirited, however many letters we have these days, kids. We have high suicide rates in Indigenous communities around the world. So it's not just that particular group of people in that country. It's across the board in Indigenous communities. We have high suicide rate in certain occupations. Like, we have a lot of farmers in Canada. We have a lot of farmers in Australia. They have a high suicide rate. Like, vets have a high suicide rate. Dentists, like, caring professions have high rates. Why aren't we standing up doing more for this? So I have a platform because you guys are listening, right? And my request of you is you each take a moment and talk to someone else about it and just check in on them and see how they are and have a conversation. Ask people why we don't talk about suicide. Like, what is it that has that? And how do we get past that discomfort of talking about it? And I see some people saying it's resonating and, it's those discussions. So because of COVID. And so I'm like, wow, that family, not only could they not get to see their parents, but then they couldn't, how did they say goodbye, right? Because the funeral stuff, only so many people. And it was opening up and now it's closing down again. I think at my brother's there could be up to 20 people. And if it was later on today, there could be up to 100. Not that many people were invited. It was very small. There's not many, right? But it's, I see someone put up, we'll have more frontline workers. There are frontline workers walking out and dying by suicide because they don't know how to deal with everything that's happening. I think it could be my internet that's playing up. But, like, imagine if we have a world, and I see Marianne talking about, imagine if we had a world of peer supporters out there talking to people who had felt like that, who knew workplaces, who were dealing with that. And I see, Pamela, you're saying, what if you have no one to reach out to? Then reach out on Facebook to us. Like, reach out to the peer organisations in your community. I think however we can contribute to each other is the important thing, right? And, one of the cool things, one of my nephews said to me, like, he's dealt with some stuff in his life, and given what's occurred to his dad, he actually wants to start finding out more about what I do and getting involved and talking and standing up. Imagine if we had a world of people who at any point in time had thought about wanting to kill themselves because they were in, like, whatever situation. Imagine if we all started getting together and talking together. Just imagine that. Imagine the run-on. Imagine that ripple. If every time someone actually felt that way, that they couldn't keep on living, that there was another person there that they could talk to. And, I see my fabulous friend from far north Queensland is talking about comfort with discomfort, right? That sometimes, I think it's a double-edged sword, that comfort with discomfort, right? Sometimes there's the comfort in the discomfort. We stay in the discomfort because we're scared to step out of it. And sometimes, like, it's comfort in the discomfort of being able to talk about it. I want us to start talking more about this topic. I don't know if I'm not going to get in trouble with part of my family for doing this at exactly the same time that my brother's funeral's on. I can't attend, and this is my way of celebrating my brother's life, to be able to bring to life this discussion so that we start doing it. Like, we need to check on people. I know there's someone on here from a long time ago in my history, and I remember, like, one of their friends years ago when we were young died by suicide, and I think they're just saying they've just lost someone else, right? Let's talk. Let's ask. Let's ask the hard questions. Are you feeling like this? And be okay to be in that conversation. And if someone says yes, let's not leave them alone. Or if we're worried about someone, let's not leave them alone. Like, I get we can't always do that, right? Like, there's no, oh my God, don't leave them alone, you've done this. There's none of that in here, but if we can start to get back to being human, back to the basics of human-to-human connection, like not speeding through everything. And I think COVID slowed some things down, because I know for me it's slowed down my head and it's done some things differently like that. But Charlotte and I always talk about, let's get our human back on. And getting our human back on is being passionately curious about what's happening for the other person that we're connecting with. Whether that's family, whether that's a friend, whether that's a stranger on the street. You know what? Do you know how much a smile costs to someone? Even the homeless people, you can smile at them, right? We don't know. This could be us tomorrow. We don't know. So my request is that we start having those hard conversations, that if we lose people to suicide, that we have that conversation, right? That we just start being in those conversations. I don't know if I'm still connecting. Like, a few people have said that it's frozen, so it could be me in the hotel. And so I apologise for that if it's frozen. Maybe it's my brother freezing and going, why are you having this conversation? But I think I just want to say the more we can talk about it, the better shot we have at saving people. Because you know what? Suicide's an epidemic around the world. And we don't talk about it. Like, I don't know how many people, but I think we hit close to COVID numbers. But we don't talk about it like that. We don't have a conversation like we do about cancer or I don't know what else, COVID or the flu, or we don't have those conversations. So this is me just having a few words. Please share this with the world. And this isn't about being famous. This is about saying it's time we stopped hiding this and we started talking about it. And we started having compassion and empathy for people who are not in great spaces. So I don't know if it's stopped, if something's happened, and people can't see me anymore. I hope that's not the case. But I really appreciate you guys being on this. This is my way of celebrating my brother's life, of saying enough's enough, people. Talk about mental health. Talk about it every day. Talk about it everywhere. And be real. Be real with people. Tell them what you're going through. Find out what other people are going through. And don't hold back. Like, I know that I got lots of keynote gigs because people say I'm real, and I just share shit like this. Right, here's my life. Let me bear it open. What are we afraid of when we don't share our lives? What are we afraid of? Let's not be afraid anymore. Let's talk about it openly and honestly. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's just be in those conversations. So, thank you for being willing to jump on. I don't have anything else to say, and for some reason scrolling's not quite working, so I don't know if people are saying things. Oh, I can see some now. I just I can see some messages now, which is cool, but let's stop being afraid of having the hard conversations, because not having them is killing people. So let's have them, and maybe not as many people will die. We'll still lose people, let's be real. We're still going to lose them. And one of the things we have to do when we lose people is forgive ourselves. Right? As I said earlier, I spend so long looking at messages, thinking about every conversation. Did I do this? Did I do? The reality is, even if there was something I missed, which I can't think of anything, but even if there was something I missed in those conversations, it's not going to change the fact that he's no longer with us. So my request is, when you're in those conversations, and if someone does die by suicide, that you don't get caught up in the what ifs. What if that? What if when? How? I could have done this. I could have done that. Because the reality is, all you're doing is poisoning yourself. You're not changing the outcome. You can have a think about, if it happened again, would I do something different? Yeah. But there's no point in looking back and losing yourself in that. Because I think there's a place for me about healing. And this, to me, talking about this is sometimes this is healing. This is healing for me. And I saw a very special friend of mine put something out about being afraid of the moment after you hear someone feels suicidal. Well, in that moment, what I hope we do is just sit with people and say, I want to hear what's happening for you. Talk to me about what has you feel that way. That despair, like let's just sit in that uncomfortable. That's the piece that can be hard for us. It's uncomfortable for us to sit with people when they're talking about all of the things that has them feel that there's no hope anymore. And, it's not about providing false hope to people. Well, let me tell you about this. What about this? Don't forget about this in your life. Because actually, having been a person that's attempted suicide in the past, and I'm super glad that I am not good at it. And I'm very clear, given what's just happened in our family, I will never, no matter how bad I get, never, ever attempt again, ever. Oh my God, I'm watching my mother go through this, and never would I, never. And it is that place, right, about just being with the person and exploring with them, what is their life look like? How is that? Like just being with them and exploring and actually validating their feelings. Because, one of the worst things I remember when I was feeling super low and wanting to kill myself in the past, people would go, oh, but your life's not that bad. Oh, that's not a bad thing. Truth be told, I wanted to stab their eyes out with an ice pick. Because at that moment, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. And I see people talking about their experiences, right? Part of the piece about being in a conversation is validating people's feelings, because their perception is their reality. It's just being in those conversations. And afterwards, because it's going to happen, right? We're going to lose people. But after, how do we support ourselves after? So for me, I shared, it's pretty tough not being able to participate in my brother's funeral, right? I think I've heard I'm going to get a video later. Truth be told, I don't know if I'm going to watch it, because it kind of feels a bit impersonal. And it's tough. And I'm like, what do I do to look after myself in this moment? Hey, I've got a hotel room, nice hotel room, TV, and I'm doing this. Because this for me is part of my healing. Not next week, the week after. My fabulous business partner, Charlotte, has a cottage on a lake, and I'm going to go out. And when I was little, my brother and I used to go fishing every morning when we're at our shack. And so I asked Charlotte if she had a fishing rod, because I haven't been fishing in years, but I'm going to go fishing and just chat with my brother, right? That's my healing. And so it's super important to think about, like, after a suicide, what are you doing for you in that process? And we all grieve differently, right? This is my healing. Looking at myself but cool thing is seeing some comments on here. I really appreciate people joining. And as I said, the more we talk about it, the better chance we have of stemming the epidemic. Because it's an epidemic, guys. Veterans. How many do we lose? What do we lose? A veteran every 11 seconds? That's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay to lose our farmers. It's not okay to lose our healthcare workers. It's not okay to lose Indigenous people. It's not okay to lose youth. It's not okay to lose women and men in all different occupations, and transgender and every other kind of gender there is. I truth be told, I can't keep up with it all, so I'm just going to say it's not okay to lose anyone. One life is too many. So can we please talk about this? I don't care whether you share this. Maybe you can, but please start talking about how people are feeling. Get your human back on. Chat to the person walking down the street. Smile at them. If they give you a weird look, so what? Like, I was having a conversation recently with someone in a grocery store, supermarket for you down under. Someone was saying to me afterwards, oh, people don't talk to me in the grocery store. And I said, well, I always just go, g'day, how's it going? What's happening? And if they don't talk back, they don't talk back. Like, I'm not going to take it personally. So here's the other piece that I have. And my good friend Lynn Legia from the US gave me this. She gave me a Q-tip. And she said, quit taking it personally. QTIP. If someone doesn't talk to you, don't take it personally. It's not generally about you, right? But we can say hi. We can smile at people. We can ask them how they are and genuinely want to know, because you don't want to be the grocery store person that goes, oh, how's your day? And you're like, shit. And they're like, oh, that'll be, and they're rolling the groceries down. They're like, $22.21, thanks. Right? You don't want to be that person. You want to be the person that if you ask someone how they are, you genuinely want to hear what's happening. So I really don't know what else to say in this conversation other than let's make it an everyday topic rather than someone's got a good idea for once a year. Let's just be in that conversation. Imagine if we could talk openly about mental health, and in particular whether people are feeling suicidal or not, or if someone's died by suicide. Just imagine if we could all just talk about it openly and share our hearts, our vulnerabilities. I think we'd save a lot of lives, and we'd also support people in grief differently. Because imagine all those people out there who are too afraid, too embarrassed, too guilt-ridden, or too feeling of shame that they don't say what happened. And they're just like, yeah, my person died. Like, that suicide conversation, I've had so many chats in the last couple of weeks. That can eat away at us. So let's be brave, let's be vulnerable, let's be courageous. Let's have the conversations. Let's love each other. And even if we don't love each other, let's just have the conversation anyway. Let's be passionately curious about how people are feeling in whatever stage, before or after suicide. Well, here's the thing, like after suicide, you can channel, I don't know how people feel, maybe you can channel chatting with the person who died by suicide, but let's be in a conversation with those who are still here too. And I think unless anyone's got a question or a comment, I'll probably close it out and say, I love you all, each and every one of you, for being on this call and on this journey. And this is my way of honouring my brother and being able to maybe support someone else not to feel the despair that has them die by suicide. So, love you all. Let's get this conversation going. Let's talk about it. So it's talked about it as much as COVID. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I want. That it just becomes a conversation. So thank you all. Let's make it not an S word, but let's stand up and talk about suicide. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being part of my journey on this. And thanks for letting me do this while my brother's funeral's on, because it feels pretty raw that I don't get to see him to say goodbye in this moment. I see some pretty cool people on here. Oh my God. Reach out, guys, because I would love to say hi. And take care. And if you're feeling low, if you're feeling like, however, reach out to your family, reach out to your friend, reach out to the peer services. Just reach out to someone. Reach out to the stranger. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. I hope it was a useful conversation. It was my little blurb. Bye.